I mean, I have great power, and I need to learn that I need to use this power for good
Seriously.
and not,
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not trying to be evil, but if I'm not being accurate, I'm hurting the wrong people. So,
yeah.
I mean, our moms will never buy Oatly now.
Our moms were never going to buy Oatly.
All right, let's talk about some ads.
Yeah. So Matt, you got to pick this week.
I did.
And I think you picked a real doozy.
A doozy.
A real doozy. You remember the Doozers?
I don't.
Doozers, right? Like, wasn't it called the Doozers, right? From Fraggle Rock? It was like the...
Yeah, so I think that is enough. Let's jump into this ad that I really only watched the first half of. No,
you watched a solid 15 out of the 30. I think it's pretty good.
30 seconds.
I think it's a pretty good ad.
Too much. The first 10 or 15 seconds was pretty good, at least. I'm
gonna go. I'm gonna assume the back half's as solid as the first.
Yeah.
So you want to play it? We're gonna watch it. Let's watch it.
Let's watch it. Yeah, let's do that.
When I grow up, I want to file all day.
I want to claw my way up to middle management. Be replaced on a whim. I want to have a brown nose.
I want to be a yes man.
Yes woman. Yes, sir. Coming, sir.
Anything for a raise, sir.
When I grow up,
I want to be underappreciated.
Be paid less for doing the same job.
I want to be forced into early retirement.
This ad is really well thought out. I love that. One, this is from, I believe, around 1999. I don't know if you did more research. I'll let you
99.
Do that. But so .com era, right? Like things were blowing up and people didn't really look for
like .com bubbles were blowing up.
Yeah, right. Well, that was I think
not
a year
yet.
later.
It was close.
Yeah, but it was it was right when that was happening, right?
Yeah.
But people weren't looking for jobs online, so they wanted to attract people to that service, and rather than just doing it in a very flat, boring manner of saying, hey, you can find a job online, right? Like it, I think it's clever. I think they bring some emotion to it, right? If you want to bring a lot of people to your site, you have to sort of create the need. Like just looking for people to go to monster.com that are currently looking might not be enough to really support your mission as a company. You need to sort of create people who are like remind them like, hey, you might, you're unhappy maybe, right? And if you are, like, here's a new way, right? Here's the
best advertising, right? Does that,
right?
Let's not forget how unhappy you are.
Well, I mean,
but there's a better way. Buy our product.
So, and I'm showing my unpreparedness here, but I guess the point that I'm trying to make, and I'll stop here and I'll let you jump in and save this thing, is it really was a new concept, right? Nobody was buying. I mean, people were barely buying books online, right? Amazon.com, right? Amazon was at that time operating at a loss, could go either way. We were dialing, it was still dial up for most people in America. And this was an easier way to connect with employers. And it was an easier way for employers to connect with talent. There was no longer you had the classified ads or just walk in. Like, I mean, I'm sure that, you got that advice when you were a kid, right? Like, oh, just go on in. They love it when you do that, and I'm sure that there's still people out there giving that advice, which, that's the absolute wrong way for the most part to go about trying to get a job. But, they needed to grab attention, and I think this does that. For me, it's memorable. I remembered it the minute I found it. I was like, oh my gosh, I remember this. It's motivating, right? Like, hey, if you're unhappy, do this thing. All you have to do is, like it's easy, and it's truthful, right? Like it was easier, it was better, it was faster to connect. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, 1999. I remembered the ad, and I couldn't believe it had been that long ago.
Right.
And it's easy to be like, yeah, that's right. I guess there was a world when Amazon wasn't delivering packages to your door with a drone by you simply like blinking your eyes 3 times, right? Which as we speak now, blinking your eyes is not a way to order, but in a few years, looking back, I bet it will be a way to order. Just blink 3 times or think what you want, and it'll magically appear. The genie in the lamp, known as Amazon. Yeah, like so job boards online, getting stuff done online in general, let alone finding a job. You're right. Like this seems like just old hat now, but it was a very novel thing at the time. I want to point out, interestingly, using television to get people to go to the internet. I like that. Because digital advertising, as we know, is the most important thing and the most effective thing, and it is going to completely replace traditional broadcast media, just like it has replaced the written word and how nothing is printed anymore. People only read books online.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So I find that interesting. Facebook, quick aside, spends hundreds of millions of dollars a year on television advertising. What does that tell you? Yeah. Also, last year, Facebook or Meta, whatever they are now, spent something like $28 million doing a particular thing. Do you know what that thing was?
Super Bowl ad?
Security for Mark Zuckerberg. $28 million to secure the man. I'm sure it's like all sorts of its technology. It's all sorts of different things. And large companies do spend a lot of money, but like other large tech companies that it was compared to, it was like within like $1 million a year, $2 million a year, 27.6 million or 20, something like, it was like something like that. So I just think it's interesting, the immense disparity.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what that says. I'm just observing the data on that. And I think that's interesting. But getting back to this ad, right? 1999, yet another commercial that debuted in the Super Bowl XXXIII. That's 3 X's, 3 I's. If I'm correct, and I'm thinking back to Super Bowl XXXIII, 1999, I believe it aired twice. I remember it airing in the second quarter, and then again in the fourth quarter. And I'd be willing to put money on that. Don't be upset at how good I am at what I do. All right. And if you want to look like you're this good, search the internet for like 5 minutes before one of these episodes. Like it's literally all on there. Like the insane information. I know. I'm just busting. You're fine. You're doing great. It's just just another point of the insane information one can find on the internet, right? Like they literally list what quarters of the Super Bowl this ad aired, right? Like who needs to know that? Why is that worth remembering? Someone felt that was important to remember. In 2000, Ad Age gave it the Ad of the Year award. In 2002, USA Today did a survey of 25,000 readers, and it was listed among the top 10 ads of the past 25 years.
I think it deserves to be there, yeah.
So clearly it won the popularity contests. The question is, was it effective? And the answer is yes. They were getting like 1.5 million unique visitors a month. And then after they aired it, they were getting like 2.5 million unique visitors a month. And it sustained itself for like a considerable amount of time. And then they obviously backed it up with other ads This really was one of the things that launched the Monster Doc. Really, I didn't like introduce it, but it really kind of helped to propel the Monster.com brand.
Right.
Yeah, so it's super funny. It's pleasantly defies expectations, right? Because you're not sure what to get. It's like the joke with the punchline, like totally does that. Who does not love kids? I mean, right? Like kids doing adult things. People love that sort of thing. The whole like imagining their future, but not the way you would expect them to always do it. Like the opposite. Yeah. It's like those spoofs on those motivational posters that you see in offices, right? Where have you ever seen these? There's like a calendar of them, but it's like the dark comedy version of them or whatever. So I think it trades on a similar kind of like technique as those do. They're supposed to be saying something positive, but they're saying this negative thing. I want to, what's the one kid? I want a brown nose.
Yeah.
I want to have a brown nose.
Something about
I want sunshine blowing up my skirt.
Yeah. Yeah. Something about it.
The copyright
just occurred to me. It just occurred to me. And so I'm going to interject it. A little bit of a like Little Rascals feeling to it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but it's got a little bit of that Little Rascals.
They did the black and white thing. They did the black and white thing, so it's dreamlike, right?
Yeah.
I guess they didn't use child actors. They scoured the United States. It just goes to show what you can do when you have a ridiculous budget. They scoured the United States for regular kids because they wanted it to have that kind of feel. So they didn't want to use child actors. So they scoured the United States for regular kids. The ad agency was Mullen, I guess currently known as Mullen Lowe. The copywriter, Dylan Lee, he got poached by Weed & Kennedy a couple months after this ad aired. So, which I think is interesting. I wonder at Weed & Kennedy if they're like, someone like hits like a buzzer and like someone runs into the office and he's like, get me the copywriter and the director of production for that ad, because that's probably how they talk over there, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Big cigar.
Yeah, cigar. Well, it's West Coast, probably like a hookah, right? It's Northwest, right? Probably like a hookah. And they're probably all wearing Nikes. I don't know. I mean, so those were kind of like the notes that I took down about it. But yeah, funny, memorable, super memorable. I totally remember this ad, and I can't believe that it's been that long.
Yeah.
Since they aired it.
Yeah.
So kudos to Monster.com for making us laugh, for teaching us something about ourselves and about the world that we live in. But what's interesting, also, a voice in the wilderness, perhaps. Dare we say a voice in the wilderness calling ahead? Because that was 1999. And I feel like that ad is like right now, like just touching on the heart of what we're dealing with, right? Did you want to? Did I take your point?
Nope, you didn't. I like this point that I think you're about to make. So sorry.
No. I don't think, because that's the point. I don't have anything else about that. Will you say something awesome now?
Well, so to me, it being like this new thing, they're using television to do it. It's the internet. I mean, we literally just saw this. Love it or hate it, the crypto.com ad with the Super Bowl, right? Like, it's this new concept. It's, it's different. You got to do something that gets people talking, right? Like, it's a very different technique, right? Mm-hmm. But it's kind of in a similar path.
They had the QR code that was moving around, right?
Yeah. The QR code, which I just
have you ever seen that website? It's from like probably 10 to 15 years ago. And it has the headline that says pictures of people scanning QR codes. And then it's just this long scrolling page. It's just blank white. It's just like all white. As if there's nobody scan. Now people, I do think, scan QR codes, but like this is like when they first came out. I was right. Pictures of people scanning QR codes. Nobody. White.
Sure.
White. Nobody.
And QR codes went like this, like if there was a graph, this is going to be terrible. But, and then Nope. And genuinely now it's like a lot of people use them. COVID helped, right? Like that became a like a good tool to use.
Force people to figure out how this works.
I always thought it was a good sort of thing, you know, like if you want to bridge physical and digital, you know, it's a good quick way to do it. It also helps that your camera will do it now. You know, you don't have to download a specific app to do it.
That's right. Remember that? Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you did.
So
yeah,
I think that helps too. But
yeah.
I think that, you know, similarities in where they were, I guess, and what they used to get the word out. I want to go back. You touched on, and this is not me defending Facebook in any way, shape, or form. I think it's like the Death Star. I can't, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
The
first death,
you're
which
picking
Death
on them
Star?
though for spending money on traditional advertising. Where else?
I'm not picking on them.
I know.
I'm just pointing out that people like talk about digital advertising like it's like nirvana, and it's like, here's Facebook spending hundreds of millions of dollars on traditional advertising, as they should.
Right. Two things. Two things about that. One, I think people are sort of over like the whole like talking about digital as if it's like replacing. I think a lot of those people that once did that kind of don't do that anymore, or have sort of been exposed as snake oil salesmen, you know, or they've just sort of learned, right? Like, oh, maybe this isn't going to replace it, but it is a good way to augment your strategy. But my point here is, if you are, let's say you own a mall, and in the mall you sell advertising, right? Like you sell a lot of advertising within the mall. There's different areas that you could, you know, sell that advertising. I mean, storefronts technically are advertisements, right?
They are.
And you want to advertise your mall. You're not going to put up billboards or banners or advertisements within your mall, right? For your mall. Like, people are already there. They already know about it, you know? You might do some little bits about, like, you know, come on back. But the point there, Facebook can't, I mean, are they going to advertise on their own platform?
No, of course not.
Or are they? Oh, so, you know, like they have to go outside. I think that there is a lot to be said about the affordability of, you know, digital advertising for small businesses. Do I think that large brands need to be spending a ton of money on digital? I don't know. Probably, you know, I mean, there should be a good split. And yeah, certainly traditional media is not dead, you know, like people.
Yeah, this is probably a conversation for a different day.
Yes, you're right.
Because there's a lot that we could get into here.
And you're about to be arrested.
No, that's unfortunate. It's an ambulance. Hopefully everybody's okay.
Oh.
Yeah, that's an ambulance.
All right.